We now return to Let's Play S.O.R.S. Okay, nothing new, aside from now we have to begin actually prescribing treatments for the various diseases, but there's nothing new to look for in the actual diagnosis guide, I guess, other than what this little thing just says. Okay, let's go. The gradual eradication of the transport industry is thought to have been the initial catalyst for the Great Drift. Whatever part of history that is. And here we go. Patients to see, 4, accuracy 50%. Type next to see treatments in the console. Now this is what I'm talking about. In order to get to the treatments page, we have to actually type in next, which, you know, it's only 4 letters, but it's still a pain when I could just hit N to go to the next page. Anyway, here we go. I mean, it frees up one hand, right? Healthy. You have diabetes. Now we have to type in next and actually prescribe the insulin injection. Hunches at work. You need to change your lifestyle habits. I just straightened my own back once I read that. You have no diabetes. Get 7+ hours of sleep every night. Fantastic. Okay, that looks like some low blood. I'm willing to bet we'll see a high glucose. Yes, you have diabetes. Eats fresh fruit and veg. Good. Low blood, I'm willing to bet we'll see diabetes. Yes. Day summary. Got our target of 4, accuracy 100%. Status, pass. Now it's actually important to get high accuracy because I believe it works towards upgrades a little bit later on. We might see that in one of the emails today. Gaz, now I want you to start diagnosing osteoporosis. This will be more complicated than diabetes, so have a good look at the diagnosis guide and study the graph shown there. There's also more treatments available, which depend on the patient's age. First, you'll have just one treatment to deal with, though. Good luck. I hate osteoporosis because the game does not adequately tell you how to look for it, I feel. It's very, very finicky, and I don't like it at all. Intruders. Dear all, we'd just like to remind doctors to be vigilant and always challenge patients for their med cards. We've had reports of protesters and other individuals trying to gain access to the facility. Hola. Dennis Newman. Hi, Gaz. I'm the IT guy. If you need your PC fixing, just let me know. But look, please just make sure it's plugged in before you call. I get that a lot. And also, there's no any key. And also, don't turn it off when it's updating, okay? Good to have a newbie around here, though. It's pretty boring here, what with everyone isolated. Later. Really, I don't think anyone has ever said, I'm glad there's a new guy around. News alert. Terraform, the world's leading education MMO, is now the main form of education in over 100 countries. Having spread rapidly in only 4 years, the online game allows students to learn together, with teachers taking roles as quest givers. The game can also be played by non-students, and has opened up a huge market for adult education, where adults interested in a specific topic can take the same lessons as students. Pedophilia is rampant. To do. Hola, to do. 1. Buy dog food for Star Fox. 2. Clean keyboard. 3. Ring mum. Sorry, that was meant to be sent to me. Drinks. Hey, thanks for coming last night. It's so nice to put names to faces. By the way, I'm friends with an IT guy, and he said there's some codes that can help you out. Ah, okay, so this is actually a good thing that I did this, because now she's given me a cheat code, which is going to give me more time, and I'm definitely going to write that one down. Time 52. Okay, gets me extra time on my shift, but it only has one use, so I guess I will be collecting these as we go along. Okay, so that's everything there. Diagnosis guide. Now let's look at osteoporosis. It starts me on the diagnosis screen. Let's actually check out the background first. A condition where bones become weak and are more likely to break or fracture. Bones naturally repair themselves, but this process stops gradually with age. Leads to 9 million fractures a year worldwide. The most common breaks are wrist, hip, and vertebrae fractures. Regular exercise, healthy eating, and making lifestyle changes such as giving up smoking or reducing alcohol consumption can help keep bones healthy, even for those at risk of developing osteoporosis, like those with a family history of the condition. Those living with osteoporosis can find local support groups to help them live with the condition. Relaxation techniques, nerve stimulation, or hot and cold treatments can all help recovery from a bone fracture. Okay, let's look at the diagnosis, because this is a pain in the ass. Scan the patient's legs to create graph points. The graph below is for a patient with osteoporosis. Healthy patients have higher clusters of phosphates and collagen than shown below. Keep scanning until you can compare the cluster heights on your graph with the ones below to decide if the patient has osteoporosis or not. If scans are positive and the patient is under 50, prescribe osteoporosis. Now, the age thing there actually does matter, and it gets really freaking confusing later on. So I'm going to actually start writing these down. But what's really confusing about this condition is these little clusters and finding out exactly where they are. Now, the one on the right is around the 1 line, the one in the middle is around the 2 line, and the one on the left is above the 10, I guess I'll call this 11. But, outliers like this can just totally screw you up, and it's really a pain, because you have to, they can have really high phosphate clusters, and then you'll get one outlier over here that's like way down here. But if you had kept scanning, and this condition requires a lot of scans to get right, this might all actually be up around here, and so they don't have osteoporosis. The game is just really finicky about this condition, and this doesn't help at all. Phosphate cluster higher than this is healthy in patients. Why not show me what a healthy patient looks like? Because this says this is even worse. They are slightly higher in healthy patients, so they are slightly higher than this, which means it could be right here, and that would be considered healthier. I hate this condition. Of all the misdiagnoses and all the errors I get, it is always osteoporosis. So hopefully I can learn how to actually do this freaking thing. And this is only 3 of the 6 possible conditions this game has. And I believe eventually there's going to be even more treatments for diabetes and lifestyle choices. I think we're going to have to eventually give specific lifestyle advice choices. So this game is incredibly complex as far as what we have to do to solve things. And so I'm going to hang on to those cheat codes for time, because I know I'm going to need them later on. Anyway, let's look at the treatment. If scans are positive and the patient is under 50, prescribe osteoporosis. Now, that doesn't mean that if they're over 50, we can't prescribe this. It's just that in this particular case, under 50 is only osteoporosis. Later on, we're going to get other conditions for people who are over 50 and over 70, and those will have other prescriptions that we need to give. I hate this condition. Let's go ahead and start. All humans live in skyscrapers, except for those on ground level. They live in between the bases of the skyscrapers on land overgrown and reclaimed by nature, which, you wouldn't think is too terribly bad, really. But getting back to the timeline of this game, when it talks about 2030 being in the future, and that means within 15 years we have these towers. We have 4 patients and 50% accuracy, and now we also have the remove command to deselect treatments. From what I've seen, it will only deselect the last thing that you selected. Another interface suggestion I would have is just to type back in a condition you've already set, and it will then deselect it, rather than having to type in remove and go backwards. Or, if you keep remove, hit the R button. Add shortcuts, please. Let's see some patients. Feeling stressed. I can prescribe lifestyle right off the bat. Next, we need to check for diabetes. Looks like you probably have it. Very low blood. Yes, you have diabetes. Have to remember that. Now, let's check for, okay, that's hovering around the 1, that's hovering around the 2. You probably have osteoporosis as well. So next, I'm going to prescribe an insulin injection. Let's hope this worked. It did. Black gums. That's not so good. You need lifestyle choices. lifestyle changes. Okay, higher blood. You're fine on the diabetes. Okay, I'm going to suggest that this is osteoporosis. I mean, look at that. That's below the 2 mark. Looks healthy. I'll be the judge of that. Okay, that's slightly above 2. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You look at this, and it's all hovering around something good. No, you've got osteoporosis, I'm pretty sure. Check for diabetes. That's a high blood, so let's see about... Yep, you are good on that. Only eats processed food. Well, that's number 1 right off the bat. That looks very high. That's way much higher. You don't have osteoporosis. You probably have diabetes. You've got diabetes. See, it doesn't take much. I mean, as soon as you get a few positives, you just sort of take it on faith that that's what it is. Like I said, that's not always the case, and the game can screw you over on that, but we got 100% that time, so all is good. Another one from Jane, priority. Hey, we have a couple emergency patients. Now, this one does affect the storyline. I know that much. And all the other doctors on shift are too busy. Can you choose one to treat? I hate to have to make you choose, but we're just so busy. Hopefully, someone else can pick up the other one. Of course, if you don't want to take either, just ignore this mail completely, but I hope you don't do that. Patient number 1, a 43-year-old male actor, has several cuts which haven't healed in a while. Tired, thirsty, and frequent episodes of thrush. That sounds really complicated. The other one is patient 2, a 55-year-old male counselor, suspected multiple bone fractures. Looks like they may want to give us something if we help them. Thanks, Jane. Now, the first time I played this part, and I haven't played much beyond this mission, but the first time I went through this, I selected this guy just because it sounded easier. I'm not really sure I remember what was given to me, but I do know that by ignoring the person who needed help more, it did seem to have a negative impact. Now, I'm willing to bet there's a negative impact from both of these. I mean, this guy sounds kind of probably rich and powerful, and that may come back to bite me a little bit more than this person, but I think in this situation, I'm going to try out patient 1 and just see what's going on there. Now, I mean, based on what we've got here, I don't have anything, I don't think. I mean, maybe this will unlock new diagnosis, which will make the game even more complex, so maybe I'm screwing myself over here, I don't know. But we'll select patient 1. Okay, and thanks again. A new osteo treatment. Now here we go. Okay, so good work so far. Now I want you also to prescribe follow-up scans for patients over 50. So here we go. This is that next level of complexity for the one treatment. We'll stay on osteoporosis for a while, but I'm pretty sure everything else is just going to ramp up as we go on. I mean, we've barely started the game, and already we've got half a dozen things to look for. That'll send them over to me, and I can take care of them from there with further treatment. Kind regards, Dr. Tio. P.S. Congratulations. I've spoken to Dr. King, and based on your progress, she's happy for you to be promoted out of training. Congratulations. This does mean you'll be using the normal equipment, so bad scan points will be the same color as good scan points. Remember to listen to the sound to know whether you should ignore that point, if it's bad, when reading the graph and diagnosing the patient. Kind regards, Dr. Tio. Now, this bothers me because, like I said in a previous video, in a real-world scenario, it would make more sense just to have the actual visual indicators. And from a game design standpoint, I also feel this is kind of a bad thing because with the audio cues only, that's not accessible game design. I mean, if you're deaf, you're going to have a hard time playing the game. Now, you could also argue that visual, if you're colorblind, visual colors also are not very accessible, but that's why good game design says you have both. You have fallbacks, you have very specific indicators so that if you cannot see well, you cannot hear, you still can play the game. Anyway, I think that the way the game is built, you can't easily fix that, especially not since they want you to have that, that difficulty in hearing the buzzer and not being able to see it. I mean, that's obviously a choice, but it might not have been the most user-friendly. Fun! Hey, pal. You want to play some games? I get pretty lonely here, and most of the other doctors are too serious. You seem like fun, though. Tell you what, if I send you questions or riddles, and you get them right, I'll give you some stuff to help you when you're scanning patients. Deal? Okay. Fun number 1. Hey, okay, first question. You tell me the answer. Just type into the email console below. Easy one to start. Who performed the first adult heart transplant? I'll give you a clue. It begins with C. Well, luckily, in my timeline, Google still exists, so I'm going for that. It is Christian with 2 A's. Barnard. Correct. Nice one. I'll send you a tip. So he's going to send me another code a little bit later. Hey, did you hear? 2 doctors fired this week. They're keeping it quiet. I heard from someone else. Apparently, they both blame their scanning equipment. Weird, eh? Can you believe it? Yes, I can believe it, in fact. Really? What sort of places have you worked at before? That may or may not have had a negative impact on our relation. I don't care. Oxygen pumps. Dear all, please be aware that the oxygen pumps on the top 3 floors are still being fixed to provide sea-level oxygen air levels, 20.9%. Until these are fixed, these floors are closed. Apologies for the inconvenience. That could be interesting. God's will. Praise be to him. It's his will. I've seen it. He spoke to me. Tempe was sick. She was kind, but her time on this earth was done. I hope you're religious, doctor. Your judgment is soon. Look forward to it. Oh, okay. Well, so this is in consequence of choosing patient 1 over patient 2. We still get a bad email like this from an angry relative or whatever if we chose the other person anyway, so the consequence might still be the same. It might also be different. There might be something running in the background based on who is trying to fuck us over. In this case, we've just pissed off the religious people. So if that is a group that exists and will eventually try to screw things up for the hospital, we'll know where that started. Okay, I think we have time for one more. We now get to play around with new treatments, which is the follow-up scan for over 50. I have to remember that. Here we go. Fishing is now a luxury pursuit due to the expense of reserving dock space for your boat. Mass fishing holidays are popular, but synchronized with fish breeding cycles, as they should be. Here we go. 7 patients. Accuracy 65%. Check patient age before diagnosis. Bad scan points now are the same color as good ones, but still make a different sound. Now, what's really gonna fucking screw me over is if that goes away and there's no audio indicator later in the game too. I wouldn't be surprised. Here we go. High blood pressure. You need a lifestyle change. Can prescribe that right away. Okay, that's pretty low glucose. That's a high blood, so you're fine there. Yep, you've got osteoporosis. So next, we need you are over, so we need a follow-up scan. Regularly speaks to friends. Good for you. That's pretty low blood. Yep, you got diabetes. Over 73 or over 50, rather. Actually looks pretty good. I'm going to take one more. Yeah, you're fine. So we'll take you to the insulin and hope you don't have osteoporosis. Drink small amounts regularly. That's pretty good. I guess that's the preferred. Okay, you don't have diabetes. That could be an outlier down there. In fact, I should probably scan this just one more time to make sure. Okay, yeah, you don't have diabetes. You don't have osteoporosis either. It looks like you are fine. I'm making these diagnoses on very little data. That's not exactly... You smoke at all, you should change your lifestyle, according to the game. Okay, you've also got diabetes. Eventually, yeah, so eventually I'm willing to bet the low data diagnosis stuff is going to come back and bite me. We can do for both of those. You are unhealthy, Ronnie Bader. Smokes 1 a day. Lifestyle choice. Oh, come on. We had a lot of errors there, and you can see what it was doing to the heart rate of the patient. I don't think you have diabetes. Diabetes. You probably have osteoporosis. I'm going to take one more. Yeah. Okay, you are under, so I think we can let you go. Does not exercise. You should change that. Okay, I'm willing to bet you've got osteoporosis. We don't even need to go further on that road. That's a low blood. Yep, and you got diabetes. Let's see. Insulin. I'm getting a little more used to taking my hand off the mouse and moving over to the controls. I would still rather not do that. You need a lifestyle choice. I think it'd be easier just to keep one hand on the keyboard, one hand on the mouse. It would just provide a smoother experience. I'm willing to bet you've got osteoporosis. That's a pretty high glucose. I need a blood. I need one blood spot. Come on. You don't actually. Good for you. Next. You don't actually need anything because you're under 50. Patient seen. 100%. That was pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. Now, you notice down there that the timer is still ticking away. It says I've already passed. I'm almost curious to see what would happen if, while it's giving me my summary, if that went down to nothing. You know, if it actually timed out, if there would be some kind of, some bug where it said I failed. Okay, it's our friend again. So you've passed training. I think you might be ready, but I need to test you. I need to know you are competent, and you need to see what I can do. Now, this guy is a dick. Jane, hey, I assume Armando told you about those junior doctors? I feel really sorry for them. You know as well as I do how tough it is out there to get any sort of employment. We're lucky to be where we are, and it comes with accommodation. Not that it's that good. I guess you've come through training before here, so you're used to having accommodation provided, right? No? Really? I look forward to hearing your story when we catch up next. Maybe you've even stayed in a slum scraper and could give me the inside scoop. Yeah. They don't have very good healthcare in our Stotska. We need help. Hi. John is 12. He was born at ground level. It's all he's known. He struggles to find decent food and water every day, but more importantly, he needs work. Help him out by giving us a small monthly contribution. With your help, we can make this a better world for all levels. We're Grounded, a charity that cares, and I can't interact with them at all, but perhaps I can later. On this day 20 years ago, telemedicine booths were introduced for the first time. These booths allow doctors to diagnose patients with basic conditions over a video call, making it easier and faster for everyone to get medical help. Sign up for more alerts on thisday.web. Hola. Hey, pal. Do you play video games? Oh, this is my... What? What? I thought he already gave me this one. I love them. I've been playing this one, S.O.R.S, where you get to be a murderous doctor and have to inject everyone with viruses. It's pretty cool. You get missions by email, but they have this chat system where you can only put in specific words, which is pretty annoying and unrealistic. Still passes the time from my quarters, waiting for the next shift. If you do ever play it, don't forget to use the scanner cooldown feature to work out the best way to scan people. I think if you keep clicking the same area of a patient's body, it takes longer to cool down than if you move it around. Oh, maybe save cheat words for later on when it gets harder. Personally, I preferred the passport game that came out the other week. Yeah, well done. Dear Doctor, well done on your recent shift. You are half the way there to earning a reward for your achievements. Fantastic. How could you just ignore him? He needed help and you just let him die. How can you ignore suffering? I want to hate you, but he wouldn't have liked that. I don't know what to think or how to feel or anything. God, I loved him. Okay, actually, that would have been the email from the person who I chose, or didn't choose, rather, because I got that email before. So I'm wondering what the religious one was about. Interesting. Thank you. Hey, thanks a lot for your help with the patients the other day. Much appreciated. Yeah. Hey, pal. Nice work. As a reward, type clear 62 to clear your graph of all points. Unfortunately, one use only. So, right now, the graph is not too terribly difficult to pay attention to. You just kind of have to look at the different colored dots and remember which ones had a buzzer sound and which ones did not. I guess kind of knowing where the dots are supposed to be can also give good indication, but this thing right here kind of makes me think that later on there are going to be so many different possible dots on the screen that it's going to get confusing really quickly. Hopefully they will all remain different colors, because otherwise that's just going to be absolutely ridiculous. The color scheme for this game, if you look, really only has so many colors to it. So we know that the orange dots were for the tutorial. Maybe they'll recycle that color, maybe we'll have yellow, I don't know. Next thing we can have, it looks like, will be green dots. I don't know, maybe we'll have an easier time. Oh, who am I kidding? This is going to get really tough. And probably in the next episode, we'll see the next bit of difficulty that the game will like to throw our way. So, see you then.